breaking point, the moment of greatest strain in which someone or something gives way. Tonight, Mob, we will be finding Brant's breaking point in the inaugural edition, as we will go over the NFL Combine. And again, hit a like on the video. I know it's a Friday morning. You're probably drinking your coffee, eating a donut, bear claw, or whatnot. But we're going to do a little bit of NFL Combine tonight with Brant Feinbaum. We'll do the 2026 NFL Combine coming up February 23rd to March 2nd, Indianapolis, Indiana, Lucas Oil Stadium. Some of the drills they'll be doing: 40-yard dash, bench press at 225, vertical jump, broad jump, 3-cone drill, 20 and 60-yard shuttle. Brant, let's start with the quarterbacks. I'll give you a few quarterbacks. Joey Aguilar, Mendoza, and Ty Simpson. What are you looking for? Well, we'll just you can pick one or all three. Just what are your thoughts on those three?
I'm looking. So for Mendoza, it's kind of hard to pick his combine apart, just because of how well he did during the regular season, and I feel like we're not going to really see him put into a system, obviously, until he's drafted, where he might be a little uncomfortable. So I think the biggest thing for Mendoza is finding his conformality at this point, kind of figuring out what he can and can't do, and what his strong suits are. And don't get me wrong, I mean, Chad, you know just as well as I do. I mean, Las Vegas isn't the only team that's going to be looking at him. I mean, because we've seen some crazy things happen in the draft. I mean, he could get passed up on by the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe they see something else they like. Maybe they have a different way of approaching that they want to go to. Obviously, we don't think that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, it's pretty certain that they're going to pick Mendoza. But I think it's finding his conformality. I think you got to build around him. If you're going to draft him number one and you have the background of not being a very good organization, and I think if you're going to draft him, you need to build around a guy like him and kind of figure out what he wants. Ty Simpson, I think it's finding out how he's dealing with that injury he had over this offseason, and figuring out how he's kind of recouped from it. And hopefully his arm talent doesn't go away, because we saw it. I mean, as Alabama fans, weeks 2 through 8, he had probably one of the greatest arms we'd ever seen. So, I mean, I think it's kind of finding his ability to throw the football again and make sure that he hasn't lost his luster either. Who else did you give me?
Joey Aguilar.
Man, being able to see the field. I mean, God, he tore the SEC apart when it came to passing this year. Making sure his eyes are still good, making sure he can still see the field as he did, weeks 1 through 12, because that guy was a freak. Obviously, he had some inconsistency problems towards in the big games, and in every game in the NFL is a big game. So I think it's finding if he can kind of pick those things apart, maybe figure himself out a little bit as well. I mean, you got to be confident when you play the game of football, man. And I don't think Joey Aguilar lacks too much confidence. So if there's anything, anybody I think can kind of bounce back and do what they're supposed to do, I think Joey Aguilar's got a real good shot.
Yeah, and I understand Joey Aguilar might be coming back to Tennessee. I mean, I get that, but in case something crazy happens, I went ahead and included him on here. And I'm going to give you one more, Carson Beck.
Man, if he can sustain the momentum he had from his senior season in Miami, that kid will be a freak. I mean, we were waiting for that Carson Beck game. We were waiting for it. I mean, all throughout the playoffs, we said he's going to have a Carson Beck moment. He's going to walk out there and throw 3 picks in the first half. Miami's going to get slaughtered, and it just never happened. I mean, it seemed like he was dialed in. He knew what he wanted to do with that football team, and he knew he had the best shot to make a national championship in Miami. And, I mean, look, I'm not a big Carson Beck guy, but you got to tip your hat off to somebody who invests in themselves and invests in their game and really goes to a different school and figures it out. Because, I mean, we saw at the end of his career at Georgia, he was just not the best. And I think he went to Miami and he refreshed himself. He said, I'm going to restart. I'm going to build something here, and I'm going to, kind of launch myself into a great direction when it comes to the NFL draft and combine. I think Carson Beck would be a great backup. I mean, I think he needs a couple years. Maybe sit behind somebody and really learn from him. I don't think he's going to be very good if you just kind of toss him out there. But maybe, you set him behind a guy you really trust. Maybe you set him behind a Matt Stafford in LA, or you set him behind, heck, I mean, you know how injured Joe Burrow gets every year. Maybe you set him behind Joe Burrow and just see how Joe Burrow sees the game, and maybe that'll benefit Carson Beck as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good take on Carson Beck. I think, sometimes just because you go early in the draft don't mean it's a good situation for you.
Absolutely.
And with teams like the Raiders and recently, in years past, it had been the Lions, but they kind of figured themselves out.
Yeah.
But
The
Browns and
Jets.
Yeah, and the Jets, the ones that are consistently picking in the top 5, and a lot of them aren't building around their quarterbacks, so they go there and die, then 2 years later looking for another quarterback.
Yep, absolutely.
So the point you bring up about building around them, I mean, it's almost like a forgotten art with some of these
Mhm.
teams. They just
Yep.
think you can throw in a quarterback and you're good. No.
Look at Sam Darnold, Chad. Look at
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
I mean, look at Pat Mahomes.
Well, a little different there.
Well, I mean, he had the weapons around. Now he's a good quarterback now,
He is.
but you can see once those weapons aren't really performing,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know he got injured too, but I mean, it wasn't like the Chiefs were setting the world on fire this year. But
Yeah.
that's a story for another time. All right, so with a quarterback, if you're a quarterback or you're a team at the combine looking at quarterbacks, is there a drill that you're looking at as a owner that you're saying, "Okay, this quarterback did good here." Or is it more film for them?
No, I think you gotta look at, number 1, well, it's not necessarily a drill, but I think if you're looking at something for a quarterback, I think you gotta look at their feet. Man, if you're a quarterback and you can't move your feet and you can't get in and out of situations to create plays, you're pretty much already starting out in the negative. And I think that's why everybody has kinda slept on, Jalen Milroe going to the draft because they said he wasn't very consistent and he had a lot of bad moments in Alabama. But if there's one thing even Kalen DeBoer knew, and we saw that, and that's probably the reason Ty Simpson didn't come in all that year when Jalen was playing. Jalen can create plays. He has great speed, great mobility. He can get out of bad situations, and I think that's pretty big when it comes to quarterbacks. But and I think the recency bias around quarterbacks has been the fact that they're all dual threats. Well, you gotta be I feel like in the NFL, you can definitely be a dual threat. Lamar Jackson is a very good example of being a very good dual threat quarterback, but you gotta have the vision too. And I think the eye test is huge for quarterbacks. And especially when it comes to reading those new kinds of defenses you get in the NFL every year, because those defense coordinators in NFL now know how to prepare for everything that they're going to see. So, I mean, if you get a good linebacker out there that can kind of dictate a defense and kind of, bait with his feet and move around, and I mean, it becomes pretty dangerous. But I mean, obviously, you want him to throw well. A big route, I'll tell you a big route that's kind of lost for me on quarterbacks, and you really only see it kind of now in the 2-minute drills, is your out routes, man. Your outside of the hash marks passing. I mean, it's got to be perfected, especially when you need them in those 2-minute drills. But kind of more so, you need them in quick scenarios where you got to get a catch and get out of bounds. Maybe you need 4 yards, get in field goal range. I feel like little bitty out routes like that are pretty much a lost cause. So, but it all pertains to your feet, man. If your guy can't turn your feet and rip that ball, I mean, I don't think you're really gonna be set up for much success.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Footwork, number 1. It's got me it starts from there. I mean, if it doesn't matter how good your arm strength is, if your footwork's not right, base up, so to speak. All right, let's move on to a couple of running backs here. I'll throw you a layup here, Jam Miller.
Man, I like to call him the bull because that guy, I mean, the guy looks for contact, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's gonna try and run through everybody. One thing I kind of felt like went under the radar with Jam Miller over his time at Alabama is his receiving ability. That guy can catch the football, and that is very well needed in the NFL. You got to have a dual back, man. You got to have somebody that can bruise, but you really got to have somebody that can kind of get out in the flats and catch a ball and make a play. And I think Jam's good at that. If there's one thing I think Jam needs to work on. I mean, he was just so injury prone. At Alabama, he kind of felt like every other week he was getting hurt. And I don't think NFL teams don't look at that. So I think Jam, if he can kind of keep his injuries intact, and obviously I know part of that's not up to him. I mean, heck, he can't predict that. But if he can kind of get the injuries down, man, and keep receiving the ball and running the ball like he does, I think he'll be just fine. I mean, don't let Alabama's O line problems defer how good Jam Miller is, because I don't know if y'all noticed, but it wasn't just him. None of them could run the football. So I think if you're going to look at his stats this year and say, oh, he must not be that good, you need to worry about Alabama's offensive line, because Jam Miller is a damn good running back.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I want to throw you another layup. Jeremiah Love out at Notre Dame.
Freak. I mean, dude, freak. When I look at him, I thought of the same thing last year when I was watching Ashton GT. I mean, obviously, not near the, kind of the big stats that we saw from Ashton, but Jeremiah Love is freaking good, dude. And what's more so is when I watch him, I feel like his only goal is to score. And I mean, again, that's what you need from your running backs, man. You don't need a guy. Obviously, you love a guy that's going to get out there and be like, I'm getting 4 yards on this play. But when you get a running back out there that says, I'm getting a touchdown every time I touch the football, I mean, it's a tough trait to find these days, man. And I mean, it didn't seem like it mattered who he played. Like Jeremiah Love was going to get his. And I think he is a star. And I think wherever he goes will be very, very, will be very beneficial to that program. Just like the Baltimore Ravens. Jeremiah Love, if you want to go to the Baltimore Ravens, that'd make me really happy. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, y'all need a little luck of the Irish, don't
No
you?
kidding.
All right, last one. We'll stick with SEC. Le'Veon Moss out of A&M.
Man, so let me tell you about Le'Veon. I never seen God, I feel like I can say this for so many of them. They're all such good athletes. But man, his vision is just nuts. I mean, it felt like there was never a hole he couldn't find. Pause. It felt like I didn't have to worry about him. And I say this when I watch Alabama games, and you're going to know what I'm talking about when I say it. Your position is running back. It's not dance around and find a hole back. That's not what it's called. And I feel like a lot of running backs get caught up in the backfield trying to look for somewhere to run. Well, Le'Veon Moss is going to run wherever he wants. Okay, and he said, if this is my hole and it's clogged up, I'm going to bounce out and I'm going to get 4 or 5. It's not a deterrent for him. He's not this hole's clogged. Let me just run into the mass group of people and maybe I'll get a yard or two. And I think his ability to kind of find holes is ridiculous. And it's the same thing with Jeremiah Love. I mean, they're both freaks. Obviously, one might be a tad bit better than the other. But I mean, Le'Veon Moss's ability to create plays, especially in a kind of like a stacked conference of defenses like the SEC, is nuts. So I mean, if he's not high on your draft board, man, you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, really good. I mean, all year. And, you with A&M, you could say they didn't hardly play anybody, but I mean, good God, he was still, you know
SEC schedule, Chad.
yeah, well, we know about that because SEC apparently sucked all year last year, so ain't that right, Big Ten?
No, hey, I love that. I love that. I saw that in the comments. Some dude posted the SEC conference rankings, and he's like, y'all still talking? I'm like, yeah, we're playing each other.
Yeah,
I mean, now granted, before all the Big Ten people freak out, okay, I said personally, if you watch the shows, I personally said that the Big Ten was better than the SEC. So before y'all start freaking out, like, oh, SEC guy, I want y'all to know that I took your side against Bo, and I thought he was going to kill me. So I wanted to be known ahead of time. I fought for y'all.
yeah. Well, he didn't, and you're still here,
That's true.
and that
He
may
doesn't
be
know
your
where I
next.
live.
Yeah, well, that may be your next breaking point episode.
Maybe.
All right, well, let's skip ahead to some wide receivers. I'll give you a little layup here. Jeremy Bernard.
Man, wide receiver 1 for Alabama. Don't care what anybody says. I mean, he carried us half the season, especially the first half. The first half, I truly thought that he should have been in the Heisman run. Great hands. I think I saw him drop 1 ball all year. Yes, it was a pass we needed to catch, but I only saw him drop 1 ball all year. He's good on the perimeter. Obviously, we've seen him run the ball. I mean, heck, he got more handoffs than half our running backs. A great athlete, great attitude for an athlete. Never got down on himself, never got down on the team, always wanted to be better. First one in, last one out. Jeremy Bernard will be a great addition for anybody. I think he's more of a slot receiver in NFL terms. He's a little bit bigger than your average slot receiver, but I think when it comes to putting him in an offense, it's going to work. I think he would be a good wide receiver 2 slot guy. I think he can make a lot of plays on the interior.
Yeah, I agree. All right, good stuff. All right, we'll stay with the SEC. Chris Brazil at Tennessee.
Man, so this is my thing. You had a great quarterback all year. Joey Aguilar really, really carried the load for Tennessee. But this guy, this was his guy. It seemed like every time I turned on a Tennessee game, this guy had the ball in his hands. There's an art, and I don't want to say lost because there's plenty of people that are good at it, but there's an art to, and people don't realize this, looking the ball in. And this guy, he never looked forward. He never caught a ball. He never looked like this to catch a ball. It was always a look in, and then bam, he was gone. And it's, finding a guy that can have as good as route running as him as well is pretty difficult. Probably one of the best route runners going into the draft, into the combine. I think he'll show out at the combine. I think he can go pretty high, at least high for his group of receivers he's in. But Chris Brazil is a freak. I wouldn't say for anything that he would be a bust in any sense. So I think he's done pretty well. He's also done pretty well marketing himself as well. You never really hear any bad things about Chris Brazil. So
Yeah, and then there's kind of 3 on here that I want to kind of get, and they're all from LSU. Uh, I mean, because this is intriguing to me because you haven't had a decent quarterback,
Mhm.
but, LSU seemed to always be stacked with receivers.
Always.
So the 3, Barry and Brown, Chris Hilton Jr., and, Xavier Thomas, they got 3 guys there.
Yeah. God,
Uh,
wouldn't you love to keep those guys together as a franchise, huh?
yeah. So, there's really not much to go. You can't really look at film because they didn't have
Mm-mm.
their quarterback he was just, for whatever reason, just couldn't get it together at LSU. Um, Tell me a little bit about that trio.
Man, see, and I really okay, as an SEC guy, I would have loved to have seen Lane Kiffin with those 3. I think he could have really caused some damage if he had, a quarterback back there that kinda knew what he was doing. Not to say Nussmeier didn't. I think people put a lot of hate on Nussmeier. I think not only did y'all get in his head, but I think he got in his own head, and I think kinda hurt him in the long run. Because I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is a bad quarterback at all. But that trio, man, I think if you have a Garrett Nussmeier, let's just say not even a really, really, really good year. Let's just say you get him a 3,100-yard passing season and, give them, I don't know, for 30 something touchdowns. I mean, they're a playoff team. I mean, and it all comes with the fact that LSU brings in so much good talent. That's why, sorry, Ole Miss fans, cover your ears. That's why Lane Kiffin chose that place. I mean, they might not be good, but they still have 5 stars running around. I mean, it just seems like there's never gonna be a year where LSU's not loaded with talent in the skill positions. Um, and I hate that those guys kind of got a wasted, last season, but I truly feel that if you were a franchise and God somehow you could keep those 3 together, they would cause some damage. Obviously, we know that's not possible and it's not gonna happen. But those three are gonna be really good in the NFL. It's gonna translate really, really well for what they went through their last season at LSU.
Yeah, because it's just crazy, you know, because I know when Miles was there and even Orgeron, they were just
Mhm.
stacked with wide receivers. I mean, I don't think they ever had a year where they didn't have 2 guys who, or maybe even 3 at sometimes, who would come to these combines and, just look phenomenal. So now you've kinda got, 3 guys here and, because of the quarterback, and I'm not dogging on Nussmeier. I mean, it wasn't his fault. I still, if the Saints have a chance to get him, I would love for the Saints to get him because I don't think he's bad either. I think you can blame that on the head coach at the time. I think we all agree probably Brian Kelly was probably the reason. But it's just weird seeing these LSU receivers here, and you don't, you kind of don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird for me.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into tight ends. We'll do the couple SEC ones. Nate Borkircher from A&M. I probably butchered that.
Hey, look, we're all human, okay? Um, Pretty solid guy. I like his blocking ability, man. I really do. Quick off the line of scrimmage too. Pretty reliable. I kind of put him in the same realm as I put Josh Cuevas. Um, when it comes to just reliability. Never really saw him do much bad. So it's also really hard to gauge a tight end because, they're not the flashiest guys. Um, that's a film thing, and when it comes to Josh Cuevas and the A&M tight end, I feel like they're both kind of in the same realm of dependency. Uh, and I mean, I can't praise Josh Cuevas enough. I mean, talking about another guy, him and Jordan Bernard that carried Alabama's team this year. Um, just consistency, man. Consistency in blocking is just as big as consistency in catching when you play tight end. And I feel like we've been lacking on really, really, really good tight ends recently when it's come to the past couple combines and drafts. So I'd be pretty interested to see tight ends, man. But I do put those 2 in kind of the same realm of skill and play.
Okay, well, I took care of your second one, so we'll skip to Oscar Delp out of Georgia.
Man, reliable. When I say reliable, I mean this dude played everywhere. I feel like every time I saw him, he was all over the field. Anytime you're going to get a Kirby guy, you're going to get a guy that's dedicated. You're going to get a guy that knows how to play the position. And I mean, I've seen Kirby praise him on multiple occasions, especially work ethic wise, which is huge when it comes to being an NFL player. Um, I felt like he kind of got a little undermined this year just because he had a really good guy behind him as well. So, not a lot of people really focus on Oscar Delp, but man, I know his name is Oscar Delp because I called him Grant Delp, I think, for like the first half of the season. Don't know where I got that from. But yeah, no, he's very, very solid. Also a great blocker. And man, that guy has probably some of the intensity I've ever seen come out of a player. That kid did not want to lose. And man, if you're an NFL program and you're looking for a good tight end that's going to stay the course and is going to hate when you lose, Oscar Delp's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I really like him. He just, you know, Georgia's kind of had that success, this little run with tight ends lately, and he's just, one of them. And again, as a Saints fan, we need offensive weapons. So I would like for us to get that tight end because we were spoiled with Jimmy Graham for so long. I want somebody who can stretch the middle of the field because we ain't got nothing hardly
Hmm.
anywhere anyway. So, all right, let's head on to the offensive lineman. We got a trio from Alabama. We got Parker's Brailsford,
Mm.
Jaden Roberts, and Caden Proctor. Give us a little rundown on those.
So actually, I didn't know Jaden Roberts declared for the draft, so that's news to me. I didn't know that. Caden Proctor, I kind of, if y'all watch Rivals, I kind of have my fill on Caden Proctor just because I felt like his freshman year he was really underwhelming. He wasn't quick. I mean, he couldn't really block anybody. Um, and it was a learning curve. Obviously, playing, you're 18 years old, you're going from playing high schoolers to college football players in the SEC. I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult transition. But man, his sophomore year and his junior year, I have zero to complain about. I mean, that guy carried our O line. He really did his job. He did what he's supposed to do, even though I know he left and went to Iowa for 2 weeks and then came back. But he was everything that we needed as a left tackle, and it's going to be hard to replace him. I want Alabama fans to hear that it's going to be difficult to find somebody that can cover a blind side for a quarterback that good. I mean, Parker Brailsford, I immediately think of the word leader. I mean, he stayed when he didn't have to last year to come back and try and win a natty at Alabama. And he's a Kalen DeBoer guy. He's been with him since Washington. But man, that guy, everybody wants to talk about his size. I mean, dude, this guy, I saw him play. I mean, this guy's throwing 300 pounders around like it's nothing. Okay. I mean, don't let it fool you. If you got a guy that can snap the ball consistently, I don't think we ever had a bad snap with him now that I think about it. Maybe one in his 2 or 3 years at Alabama. That's a guy you want on your line. Jaden Roberts, I didn't even know he declared, but if he did, I mean, we want to talk about a freak. A little injury prone. A little injury prone. We saw him have 2 bad injuries 2 years back to back at Alabama, but they call him the Hulk for a reason. I mean, this guy can throw around weight. I mean, and that's what you want as an O line. As an O line coach, as an O lineman, you want to be able to kind of block at will. You don't want to have to base how you're going to play a guy off his size and stature. You want to base it off yours. And Caden Proctor's an aggressive. I mean, Caden Proctor. Jaden Roberts is a very aggressive offensive lineman. He's going to show it when he steps on the field.
Well, so the Jaden Roberts I got off the NFL Combine listing. So unless something has changed,
No, you're
he's
fine.
on
He
this
might have.
list.
I just didn't know that.
Okay, okay. So if something's changed, it's not on me. It's on the website. Okay, it's on the website. Whatever you find on Google is correct. I've learned that in my 47 years.
Absolutely,
So don't
internet's
blame
always
me,
right.
blame Google. It's on the NFL.com. So, all right, let's go. Let's show little brother a little bit of love. Let's go with Connor Lew and Dylan Wade out of the out of out of Auburn.
It's
Do
gonna
your
hurt me.
best.
This is gonna hurt me. But everybody's gonna think. I hate that people do this. People are gonna look at Auburn's record and say, "Well, they can't be that good." Um, them as a duo, they're pretty good. I mean, anytime you're gonna look at an SEC offensive line that, let's just say, it was not the best coached, and they still come that close to winning all those games, Chad. Let's not forget that. I mean,
Yeah,
what was it, like 4 Auburn's losses were
yeah,
one-score games? I mean,
yeah. Yeah, they could have easily won 8 to 9 easily.
So
Yeah,
people kind of forget those standards when it comes to Auburn. I mean, Auburn's a good team, guys. I mean, I know that we're Alabama fans, and the SEC, all the SEC teams want to talk about how Auburn is not that good. Auburn is a damn good football team, and I hope they keep staying not good because as soon as they are good, it's going to be trouble for us, and they know that just as well as we do. But those two guys as a whole, I mean, they know how to play the game, guys. I mean, they run block real well, they pass block real well. Um, it might be a little different, just kind of seeing them, I don't know, progress. it's so hard to judge offensive linemen at the combine. There's just so much time off. They've had so much time to, either eat or not eat or lift and not lift or stay in shape, not stay in shape. There's so many factors that come into it. But those two guys are good. And I mean, they're going to translate really well. I think you're going to find, in this draft, especially because this is probably one of the worst quarterback drafts we're going to have. I think you'll find that a lot of these guys might have a little bit of trouble translating, but it's all in due time. And, people want to shit on Will Campbell for how he performed in the Super Bowl. Look, guys, if he wasn't good enough to be there and he wasn't good enough to play that position, he wouldn't be playing it. So, I mean, everybody kind of has a hard time translating their first year, and it's a big game. I mean, it's the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. And maybe nerves get to you. Maybe you realize that a guy on the other side of you is just a little bit more of a freak than you are.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, let's move on to defensive line, and this may be one of the most stacked groups. I mean, there's a ton here, but I've actually got about 6 because it's well worth the time on this position.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Ruben Bain out of Miami.
I mean, oh my God. So I've never seen, I mean, I have seen it. I haven't seen it in a little bit where I truly felt like I was watching a defensive lineman who was just unstoppable. Like, if you played NCAA, if you played the NCAA video game last year and, and you used, what was his name from Penn State? I can't think of his dang name. Anyway, you used him cheat code. I mean, you just couldn't. Nobody could block you, and it just kind of felt like that with Bane, in real life. I mean, it just kind of felt like there was no. It didn't matter how many guys you put on him or what color jersey the other team was wearing. This guy was a freak, and I want to speak on this real fast as well when it comes to defensive linemen. And I feel like people really underthink this. Aaron Donald was not the biggest guy. We can agree on that. Aaron Donald was not the biggest defensive lineman. But that guy was an absolute freak and a menace, not because of how, just of how strong and everything was. Obviously, that played a part, but he was so freaking quick. And if you're a D lineman and you're trying to make it in the NFL, man, get your footwork straight. Because if you're quick and you can beat that guy off the line in front of you every time, they can't stop you. There's nothing they can do. I mean, it doesn't matter how strong they are. It doesn't matter how well prepared. If they can't catch you, they can't stop you. And I think Ban is the perfect example of that because he can overpower you. He most certainly can. But he's so freaking quick and fast off the line, man. He's just so difficult to stop.
No, yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's move on to a couple of Bama guys real quick. Tim Keenan, LT Overton.
Man, Tim Keenan's a wild card for me. And I said this because when I was watching him during the season in Alabama, I was like, God, that's a big boy. I mean, like, I don't know if his goal is to legitimately use all that strength he has and and kind of bull rush the center, or his goal is to kind of, as a lot of nose guards' goal is, take up a bunch of the holes. I mean, take up both A gaps. And I think he could do a really good job at either. It's just he's a wild card for me, man. I watched him all season. Some games I was like, this dude is a freak, and then other games I was like, man, is he going to move or is he just going to keep standing there? And as Alabama fans, obviously we're very judgmental of our guys. That's what we do. We got to keep them certain. Chelsea Overton had a really, really good start to the season. And he ended up getting injured. I think it was week 6 or 7. He ended up getting injured and kind of played a part in how he played the rest of the season. But he ended up coming back. I don't remember what game it was. Was it Auburn? He came back. Uh, he ended up coming back later in the season and playing, decent. It's just you hate to see that for a guy like him because he really was tearing it up. I mean, hell, him and Yanze Pierre were carrying our sacks. Pause. We're carrying the sack, stat for Alabama. And then obviously he gets hurt, and did you just catch that?
Yeah,
He gets hurt,
it's
and
okay.
obviously it plays a part. And
We'll have Scott edit that out.
yeah, please. I said
Scott,
pause. I covered myself.
edit here, edit here. All right, this guy too, Cassius Howell out of ATM.
So we talked about him. He was my defensive player of the year on our superlatives. I mean, not much to say, dude. Godly, can't stop him. I think Miami was the first team he saw kind of keep him under wraps. Granted, it took 2 or 3 of them at a time. But I mean, they kept him under wraps, and that's what they need to do. Cassius Howell, you're a freak, dude. If you ever see this, you were my defensive player of the year. Superlatives, dude, keep doing you. You're going to be just fine.
All right, and then we'll end with the team with the Cal College Ron Crawford and Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. I know this is going to pain you, but I mean, Auburn had a damn good defense
They did.
last year,
They
so
did.
they need some love here from us
Look, it
on
comes
this
down to
side
those
of the
one
ball.
score games as well again, man.
Yeah,
The Auburn's defense was damn good. I don't I hate this narrative. People say this, and I keep bringing it up because I see it I saw it today. I was scrolling through social media when you're talking about the toughest place to play in the SEC. Jordan Hare was like number 4 or 5, and they're like, "Oh, nobody's scared to play in Auburn. They suck." I promise you, and I mean this, not only as an Alabama fan, but if you're in the SEC and you're playing one of those teams, if you have one hand, you have a night game in Bryant-Denny, and the other one you have a night game in Jordan Hare, and both have the same record, I think you'd much rather play in Bryant-Denny than you would in Jordan Hare. I just believe that. They're wild. I think they're the best fan base in college football, just because you got to be some kind of loyal to support that every year. And I mean, I'm not even trying to make a joke. I'm being so sincere. The ups, the downs, the bad coaches, to stay an Auburn fan and stay that consistent in your belief that they can win. Man, I mean, that's fandom. That's at its finest. But those two guys really, really, really. This is also another underlooked thing is you look on the defensive side. Those guys are fast, man. They can. I mean, they can run. They can get outside. They hold, contain when they need to, and they need to switch to outside. Very, very, underlooked traits when it comes to linebackers. I think that those guys will be million. Obviously, they're going to be millionaires, but they'll be $1 million players. When it comes to NFL. I think that their quickness is going to carry them a really, pretty far ways. But their ability to get in an NFL organization and really study film and figure out how they want the game to be played in the organization is going to be extremely beneficial to those two guys.
all right. Well, before we move any further, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. Give us a comment. Who do you think? You know, give us a name that we didn't give. We can't give everybody. We try to keep the shows, not too long. But give us a name that we didn't mention. Who you like? Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, any of them. Interact. We want to hear, what you think. Give us a name that we haven't mentioned again that, you know, that you like in the combine or even in the draft, and hit the like button. All right, let's go on to linebackers. We'll start off. I'll give you two layups: Justin Jefferson, Deontay Lawson.
Deontay Lawson, system guy. I mean, obviously, I didn't get to play him in high school. I think I graduated the year before he came up. Um, but I mean, system guy knows. I mean, he knew Alabama inside and out. Great system linebacker, man. He was always in the right spot at the right time. Um, kind of not really like a downhill guy. He's definitely a side to side guy. There was plenty of times where I wish he would have come downhill and hit somebody. And he didn't. But I mean, I feel like that wasn't kind of his style. Completely different from Justin Jefferson, because Justin Jefferson was going to hit you whether you liked it or not. Which I was very glad to see. I think he led us in tackles this season too. Justin Jefferson's ability to kind of fill A gap, B gap, and then kind of run out to C and hold contain is pretty impressive. I think they'll both be pretty good if they can mind their injuries, man. If they don't get hurt, those two guys are going to be pretty decent in the next level.
Yeah. And then I got a couple of A&M guys. I mean, how could you not? Scooby Williams and Torian York.
So Scooby is a wild card for me as well. I watched a couple of his games he played, and one of my good friends is a Texas A&M fan, and we were kind of watching the game together. He told me the same thing, and I was like, "Man, Scooby is really, he's pretty highly talented. Really, really talked about as a player." And my friend from Texas A&M swore that up and down that he was so overrated. Uh, but I think when you look at Scooby, it's not about, man. Everybody wants to talk about his playoff because he didn't play very well when it came to his playoff game. Uh, I think you got to look at more than one game, guys. I mean, because this guy was a stud all year. When I went back and kind of looked at his tackle ratio, man. I mean, it was pretty nuts. His one-on-one tackles, and especially in open field tackling, was pretty insane. He kind of kept A&M and in pretty good situations down the stretch. I mean, those two guys obviously do very well playing around each other. I'm kind of excited to see. I think in the second round there's two back-to-back teams that need linebackers. Man, it'd be cool to see them play against each other. I think it's the Panthers and the Bucks. So it'd be kind of cool to see those two guys play against each other if it ends up happening.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. It's always neat seeing like teams who play or players who play together, and then all of a sudden, especially like if it's a wide receiver, and defensive back, and they're actually directly competing against each other. on the field, and it's just kind of weird. And you kind of think about it, they did it in practice. Now they're
Mhm.
doing it for even more money than what they were getting paid in college.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
all right. Last one. As I was looking through the list, I saw one that caught my attention that I must have missed. And this guy plays for Oklahoma, and this guy um, had 2 good games against Alabama. I think you
Mhm.
know where I'm going.
Yeah,
Who
I
is it?
do. Is it Murray?
Owen Heineke.
Oh! Oh my god, I forgot about him too. Okay, wait, alright, wait, hold on. Oh, this is my thing. He gave us a lot of trouble, okay, and let me tell you why. Not only is he extremely athletic and he knows how to, mess up an offense, he gives you that Luke Kuechly vibe. Like, he watches film. I mean, he's in the film room every single night and he's trying to figure out every formation, everything that can come out of it for Alabama. And he gave us so much trouble. Especially now look, that first half of that playoff game, I mean, you, me, everybody that was an Alabama fan thought that, oh my God, we're about to get ran by Oklahoma in the first round of the playoff. And I think all the money was on us in Vegas, especially because they were giving us another go around. Uh, but anyway, man, you want to talk about troubled fits, man. I mean, this guy was in the middle of the game calling out our plays. I felt like I was watching Luke Kuechly play. There was a guy I played with in high school, man. Shout out Walker Chandler. I mean, if he ever sees this, I mean, he wasn't a very big guy. He was probably, 5'10", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", probably 180 pounds, 190 pounds. But this dude knew every single play before they ran it. And he was our outside linebacker, and he was an absolute freak. I'll never forget it. And he would get the exact same vibe when it comes to Heineke. So yeah, can't praise him enough, man. His playmaking ability is insane. God, wherever he goes, man, they're gonna be real happy with the product they get.
Yeah, and again, as a Saints fan, this is another one that I would love to have. But I
Save some for
know
the
as
Ravens, man. We need something.
good lord, I mean, the Saints will screw it up. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We'll probably trade our whole 13 or however many picks we have for Mendoza, like we did Ricky Williams back in the day. So it's coming. It's coming. They'll screw it up somehow. All right, we'll go to our last position group. We'll do the defensive backs. First one is Mansour Delane out of LSU.
So once again, up and down season for LSU, man. And you kind of felt like the inconsistencies on offense and defense kind of led to his ability to kind of get out of play, and I think LSU was, oh man, I saw this the other day, maybe like 10th in the SEC last year and in 20 plus yard plays allowed. Um, I think it's so hard to judge those guys, man, off the bad season because they're good, they're great athletes. I mean, they just didn't get dealt the right cards this year. Um, I mean, man, obviously he's good. I mean, if you're starting, for Louisiana State University, I mean, you could play football. And LSU out of everybody's had a really good stint and a really good run with great safeties and defensive backs coming out of there. You think of your Grant Delpit's, your Jamal Adams, and your Derek Stigleys, and I mean those guys have really made an impact on the field for LSU, and obviously in their NFL organization. So, pretty good player. I mean, you just kind of never know, man, how up and down their season was, if that's going to translate to the NFL, or you never know. He might get drafted to somebody really decent and come out firing.
Yep. All right. Colton Hood, Tennessee.
So once again, I feel like, man, I kind of always throw this back to the Alabama game. I just felt like he was good and he was really good against the run. He filled his gaps really well against the run when they played us. And obviously, I'm not a big avid Tennessee watcher. But I mean, to be able to, kind of stuff the run like you did against Alabama, I'm assuming he did a decent job the rest of the season. His ability to kind of get lost, though, bothers me. I feel like even when we played him, there was times where he was so worried about what everybody else was doing that he wasn't focused on his own job, and it kind of cost Tennessee in the long run, which can happen to anybody. I mean, that doesn't say anything to him as a player or as an athlete. I mean, that can happen. Sometimes you got to worry about somebody else because they don't know what's going on, and then it's a domino affecting towards you. Uh, Chad, I mean, I'd say he's a great player. I mean, he obviously has the ability to play in the NFL, man, and I feel like the SEC is probably your best step to get into that next level.
Yeah, and it's a little apropos that you use the word domino because my next guy's Damani Jackson. So
So,
good
man,
segue.
look, I got a good one for Damani. I feel like last year Damani really took over, when it came to playing defensive back at Alabama. He came in from USC, and kinda, I mean, he tore it up a little bit last year. Man, but this year, he wasn't the same. He was inconsistent. We had him lined up on wide receiver ones the first half of the season. It just felt like he was getting gassed every single play. I don't know if confidence played a key factor, or it was just that, the athletes got that much better, but I'm pretty sure halfway through the season, I mean, we kind of started exchanging him around for Dijon Lee. Um, and I mean, I like Mustard just as much as the next guy, but, I feel like if you're a senior out there, man, and you're really as highly talented as you were coming out of high school, and then you had a couple of, a year or two at USC, and coming to Alabama, you expect to really excel when you get in that good of a system. And for his inconsistencies to haunt him that bad, man, it was really worrisome. Because I personally thought he was injured. I thought there was something wrong with him. And that's why I wasn't kind of up to par, because I felt the exact same about Keon Sabb. I thought Keon Sabb was very underwhelming this year, especially compared to his first 2 games at Alabama last year. We had like 3 interceptions in 2 games. Everybody's like, oh my God, we got the next, Eddie Jackson back there playing DB. So I don't know, man. He's a tough one. I mean, I think he'll go a little lower, just because of those inconsistencies. But I mean, who knows? He could go to the combine and, like the best DB in the game. So we'll see. And that's the good thing about the combine. People hate the combine and don't like the combine. They say it's just another opportunity players to get out there and get hurt. You saw them play for 12 games. Judge them based off that. And if something happens to them, something happens to them. But I disagree, man. I think the combine is good for those kinds of players who want to go and prove that it wasn't just them. There was something going on, or maybe it was a team ordeal, and maybe it can be beneficial for them in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, it happens every year. You have a guy under the radar comes in there, blows them all away at the combine, and the next thing you know, he's in the first couple rounds of the draft because he went in there and just absolutely balled out
Mhm.
with all the skill stuff. So,
Yep.
I mean, I think the combine has its place. I mean, hell, I mean, the guy could get injured driving to the store for just to go get groceries. I mean, injuries just part of the game. But I mean, I understand it is another opportunity to get hurt, but I mean, heck, they can get hurt anywhere. But I do personally, I do like the combine. It's fun watching, and the 40. I always like watching the 40 times
Me too.
because I'm like, I could probably ride a bike and not get there as quick as they do. All right, let's go to Mr. Irrelevant for our list. Will Lee the third out of ATM.
Decent, obviously. I think he's a really good pass defender. I think his ability to see the field is pretty impressive. I don't know, let's just say he'd be better than Damani. I mean, maybe it's also a homer thing. Damani's just, you know what? Nah, he's better than Damani. I think Damani was way, way, way too consistent this past year. But his ability to see the field impressed me. When I watched him play Miami, I thought that his ability to kind of recognize plays was mighty impressive. And I mean, I don't know if he's Heineke level, but I mean, he's good. But I think he needs to. I think if you're watching those DBs and those safeties, I think you need to really watch how they defend against the run, because anybody can maybe get lucky, and defend somebody. But when it comes to Derrick Henry running downfield, you got to have a guy that's going to come up and try and fill a gap and stop that guy. But his vision, his ability to see the field, I think, are going to carry him a pretty decent long way.
All right. Well, any last word? That's it. Actually went longer than I thought it would go. This was pretty
Me
good.
too. Me too.
Well, you see that, boss? We fill time, content, all the stuff we need. So, Brad, I'll give you the final word, if any, on this on the combine.
No, hey, I mean, give it a watch, man. You might find some people that you didn't expect to kind of notice that'll catch your eye, and you're gonna say, man, that guy's pretty dang good. I'd always say give it a watch, man. My favorite drill is the shuttle drill. I love it. I love it so much. I think it really kind of encompass everything you want to encompass in that drill. So give it a watch, man. Give it a like if you need to. Give this a like. Have a good night. Have a good day. Sorry.
Right. And just to recap, 2026 NFL Combine, February 23rd to March 2nd. It'll be, of course, in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium. It's fun, something to pass the time until next season. And like I said, my favorite part's the 40-yard dash. It's amazing even some of the big offensive linemen can run as fast as they can. It's absolutely crazy how good athletes are today. All right. With that being said, for Brant Feinbaum, who would pull for the St. Paul Saints over Ohio State, I am the Chad saying see you next time.